Hello. Sorry for that. I was a little bit late in our final board meeting at the company, that's why. Can everyone hear me and see the screen? Okay, cool. I only see a few people at the moment, so maybe we should give it another 2 minutes or so before I start. I know some of you on Discord, I already said I would put the recording on YouTube, so maybe some of you have decided to watch the recording, and also you might know that for those of you who have expressed interest in the career stuff, you have the option to have one-to-one also with me. So regardless whether you attended this talk or not, you can always reach out, and I'm happy to schedule a one-to-one with you. Okay. Let's see. Let me enable the Q&A. So the question and answers is just the bar for those of you who haven't been on the thing on Crowdcast lately. Okay, cool. So let's get started. This is the final event of the year for the community. So it's been a pleasure to be on this journey with you this year. And in fact, it's been a pleasure to be with you since we started this whole community last year. So yeah, thank you so much. And remember, you can connect with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. The agenda today is really, we're going to have a very short session. And as I said, you can always, follow up with me, and I'm happy to schedule one-to-one to go to any specifics that you'd like to share with me on private, these type of things. Yeah. So I'll start with the upcoming course, a brief comment on the upcoming course on group theory. And then I will introduce an overview of the fellowship. Obviously, I won't have all I didn't have enough time to do the entire slide stuff, but hopefully it will have enough for you to have some sort of a picture of how the program is structured and how the whole process works. And then we'll have a Q&A to answering any question that you might have. And finally, I would like to end with 5 practical tips. This is mostly for those of you, young grads, getting started, making the transition to the industry, maybe more for you guys than, the seasonal pros that have already been in the workforce for some time. But hopefully there will be some useful tips and a bit of ranting also. So that's the agenda. So let me go back again to the chat just to make sure that I haven't lost you. So you can still see the slides and most importantly, hear me. Okay, cool. Thank you, Shiplu. Cool. Thank you, Claudia. Okay, so as you might know, the next course will be on group theory. I ran a survey after we did the crash course on topology and differential geometry. The idea originally was to jump straight into Lie groups, into Lie theory. But then I thought maybe it might be very useful to do a refresher on group theory, because last year in the foundation module, we did cover a bit of group theory, but we didn't really go much in depth. We just covered it a little bit superficial in order to get us into vector spaces and these things, and the unitary group that we covered in the operator section of the foundation module last year. So the crash course on group theory will be really very, very useful, because we will cover very important stuff, like corsets, generators, these type of things that are very important if you are doing quantum computing, for instance, say quantum error correction, for instance. So before we jump into Lie groups, this is the next thing we will do. And most of you, I sent a survey putting some dates. It seems that the majority, I don't remember how much percent, but the vast majority want the course to start on February the 25th. So that's a Friday. And as it stands, it will have like the usual start time, which is the 5 p.m. GMT. So, but I'm happy to, like as we go along with the course, especially those who, who are attending the live sessions, to kind of dictate the times for the course, and also the breaks. Like in the last course, for instance, I was very flexible, and I will still be very flexible to let you at the end of each session to choose how long break you want in order to digest the concept before we move on to the next lecture. And in the last crash course on topology and differential geometry, it was mostly like a 2 weeks gap, which is fine for me in a way, because it gives me more time to think about what to cover next, as opposed to 1 week gap. At the end of the day, it's more important to give you enough time to to digest the stuff so you can follow the next lecture, than really trying to wrap up the things fast. So speed is not really, we're not optimizing for how fast we deliver the courses. Instead, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to digest these abstract concepts. So yeah, so join me on the 25th of February on this crash course on group theory. In fact, another thing I want to comment is originally, I think most people want 8 lectures. I think I'm tempted to do 12 lectures. Okay, just because to start with, I will probably cover, not jump straight into groups, just to help you with building up your this abstract way of thinking. I'll start with things like monoids. First we start with sets. I won't go this thing. So hopefully doing it this way will give you a better way of understanding how you can be constructive on this in this field. I might also cover, that's why I'm thinking about 12 lectures, some very, very advanced stuff in algebraic topologies, the concept of homology groups, for instance. We'll probably cover a bit of maybe 1 or 2 sessions on homological algebra to cover the notions of exact sequences and these things. Yeah. So anyway, just to let you know, I'm very tempted to, instead of 8 sessions, we'll do 12 sessions on group theory. Then you have like a baseline, not just for what we need for the Lie group stuff, but also potentially for another thing on algebraic topology, for instance. Okay, so that was a very long blah blah blah. So getting to the main point of this session. So the Zaiku Career Fellowship scheme is essentially this idea of providing a way, a gateway for people from the community. Some of you in the community who have gone through the courses that we have covered, or are just joining us, to connect them with small and medium-sized companies, large corporations, and possibly governments looking to hire people with mathematical exposure, advanced maths, so ideally like some of the topics that we cover. So that's the essence of it. So really is to some sort of a motivation to motivate you to learn the mathematics that you will be exposed to over the coming months and hopefully years within the community. So one of the things that I'm looking at is I'm a little bit biased towards small and medium-sized companies. So a lot of the companies that we already have, the few companies that we have lined up, as part of the scheme are mostly are almost all small, medium-sized startups, companies. I think this probably provides, a good entry to these to career stuff, because in a startup environment, you have the ability to further develop yourself, and also I think it will provide you with that much more interesting, the impact. From the impact point of view, it provides a much more I lost the word that I wanted to say. It's much more interesting for me than being in a large corporate where you are just one of many. In a startup, you will see that you actually make a difference in a small team. As opposed to in a large company where you are just one of many. And possibly you'll be sent to be doing coffee and tea and these things. Whereas in a startup, you don't have time for that. You'll actually you get your hands doing something. And what you are doing, has a huge impact in the company. It can actually be like make or break type of situation. So yeah. So just to let you know that I'm biased towards SMEs. Not least, the corporates are also a little bit more bureaucratic in terms of new initiatives and these things. So it makes it a little bit more easier. Government-wise, we do have some, because of our team's connection with the UK government. We expect to have some opportunity to do stuff with some government department, but it will most likely be only for those who are based in the UK, because of the nature of the organizations that we have in mind. Things like connected to the intelligence services and these type of stuff. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm really excited mostly about startups. Okay, so I hope you can see this. Maybe I can zoom it. Can you see this this diagram? Can everyone see the diagram? Is it clear? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we envision, obviously, this is also a very new thing for us, to do. So, it's well possible that we will start, this is how we envision it, but as we go along, the whole process will change. But this is how the starting point, how we envision the whole process to start. So the whole thing will start with you guys. I already for those of you who have expressed interest to being part of this scheme on the community side, you filled in your details. I have your email and these things, and so on. So the next step, the first from the company side, is they have to do presentation. They have to present. So we don't just want to collect emails and CVs and then just pass it to the companies, or allow the companies to come in and start spamming the community with the with the links. Oh, we have this role, we have that, blah blah blah, all this. No. We are not doing that. What we want is to actually for someone from the company, and ideally someone from the technical side, to come in, present about the company, and spell out, from a recruitment point of view, what roles that they are looking for. Ideally, obviously, the roles that require mathematical skills, and also what specific mathematical areas that they are looking at, these type of things. And then during the presentation, so the session, I hope it will be maximum of 1 hour. Ideally, I would like to have one company per session, because I think that way you can have a much more a better engagement with the respective companies, as opposed to having 20-minute 1 hour session with 2 or 3 companies where they are doing 10 or 15 minutes. I want it to be a little bit more focused and tailored, so you both ends you have the opportunity to engage with the company has the opportunity to engage with you. So it will be more of a presentation discussion type of thing, like a discovery, to see whether you are interested in joining the company, right? Because so this is really the company pitching you and telling you what they need from the mathematical side. Okay. And then after the company presentation event, soon after, probably on the same day, they will share the application form with us, and then we will share it with those who express interest in applying to the company. In fact, in here we will actually one step we want to insert. This is where if you are desperate for a job immediately, this is probably this fellowship is not for you, because there is a bit of a slow process going on. Obviously, we don't want to add too much obstruction on the way, but at the same time we want a good foundational quality control in terms of experience from both sides, because we want to create value not just for you in joining a company that you really want to join and work on projects that you're really excited about, and at the same time provide the companies with a pool of talent that can help them achieve their mission and vision. Yeah. So after the company presentation, we will probably I think it's a good idea to send a form soon after to ask those who attended the event whether they are interested in based on what they heard about the company, whether they are interested in applying for the role or the roles that the company presented. It's well possible that maybe some companies will come in and present and no one wants to work for them. Well, that could be. I hope that will not be my company. That will be a disaster, but it can happen, and it's actually a good thing in a way. If after you present and nobody wants to work for your company, there might be something wrong or something else. But yeah, in the end, it might not be a bad thing. But we hope that will not happen. We hope people will express interest on joining a company because of they believe in what the company is engaged, what the company is doing, and also they believe that personally they are developing they will have the chance to develop themselves, right? So that's the step one. And then the step two is to as I said, share the application form, and then you apply to the company. And then the second step is the screening part. This is the company. Obviously, this is like this is already the company side of things. They do this, so they will do their usual pre-screening, not mathematical, by the way, because as you will see, I will comment a bit on the mathematical side of this pre-screening. They might give you a call, to go through some stuff, to do like with the work permit, all this type of stuff that companies normally do before they call someone for an interview, So they do that. That's not with us. And then what will happen is after they do that, they will shortlist a list of candidates that they want to go forward with. Okay, and if possible, we would like them to give a feedback to why those who were not put forward, for them to give a feedback at this stage also, to say, why they were not selected. If possible, a feedback is always, very useful to the community. That will help, hopefully, make you go back again and consider maybe the role is not right for you, or maybe, you have you are short on one or two skills, something like that. But feedback is definitely one of the things that we really want to emphasize a lot from this. So based on that, provided they select, hopefully they will select everybody who applied. This is optional, whether they want us. We offer this. In fact, based on the conversation I have had with the other companies, is that most of them will probably want this, which is for us to do some sort of a screening, but on the mathematical side. Okay, so we will do a screening. The way this is exactly done, it's a bit on the drawing board at the moment. We'll probably try to avoid doing exam type of things. It will probably be something like an oral call, sort of oral exam type of thing, but it's not really exam, but more of a conversational stuff, to make sure that the person has the baseline mathematics, that the company needs. And And we will also obviously provide the feedback, constructive feedback, during this mathematical screening part of the process. And we are there to support you, right? If we feel that, okay, you might struggle with one particular area or something in these things that the company really needs, we might recommend you and say, look, maybe you should, take this course or read this book or do this. And it might be possible, this is not the thing, this is what we'll do. Maybe we can, work out, especially if the skills, the mathematical gap is overlapping with the one or two, possibly three people or more. That's even ideal, because maybe we can create some sort of crash course just for you, just for the group. This will not be available to the rest of the community. This just will be tailored for you in order to help you fill the gap that the company needs. So yeah, so that's what we'll do. So this is a part of the process, this mathematical screening side, but nothing to be scared of. It won't be like an exam, and we don't expect you to be like someone proposing a PhD thesis in mathematics and these type of things. No, we just the minimal baselines that the company needs. Obviously, the mathematics also, the baseline also will vary from company to company. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I will actually, the first company that will do a presentation is actually my company. I myself will do it, and I will walk you through some of the projects that we are going to hire for, and the baseline in mathematics that you need for that. And the good news is, I think at least 2 of the projects that we are hiring for, if you cover the next module, group theory, and also a bit of Lie groups, the Lie theory side of things, you should be good. So yeah. So that's the screening. And then this is where we really get out of the process. So we will hand over. After this, we will write a memo. We will essentially write a memo after doing the mathematical screening to the company, to give our overview on the mathematical side of things, and then they make a decision. Yes. So, that's where we get out of the way. And then hopefully they will make a decision to say, okay, yeah, we will proceed with this group of candidates, or, and then, this is where we get out. We get out, and then we keep, the companies will, and the candidates hopefully will keep us on the loop. And one thing that we want to do is, we want, for those who are successfully placed in the companies, we would like to have like, regular office hours with them, to try to see whether, how we can help them, whether there is anything that, they need. This is optional. They don't have to do it, but it's a way of, trying to also learn about, the work environment they are embedded in, because at the end of the day, we also want to build a relationship with the companies, right? And we want to make sure that the companies are providing the right environment for the people from the community that the pipeline that we are giving them. Okay, and final thing after is, we will require those successful candidates, those who have been placed in a thing, to do at least one talk to the community, to share their experiences and these things. So this is the payback. We are not asking you to pay us anything. This is the payback to the community for you to share, stuff with the rest of the community, to inspire others, to motivate and share your journey with the rest, So that's it, really. That's the high level overview of the process. As you can see, it's like it's a 5-step process, but there are so many intermediary stuff in each of these that some of it is in our side, others it will be on the company side. So it's expect to be like not a fast process, a slow process. So this is why I'm saying, if you are desperate for work, to get something, this is probably, this fellowship scheme is probably not. This is probably ideal for someone who, maybe they are about to finish their grad school, or maybe they already possibly employed somewhere and they are looking for the right place to go. That's the key word, for the right place to go, as opposed to just landing in a random place. That's why we want to make sure that for example, the companies they present, and people know what projects they are going to work on and what they need, these type of things. So we are not a recruitment agency. We're not getting fees for this. What we want is to add value to the community, and we will do what we think is the best way of getting to that outcome. Obviously, there's a lot to be optimized. It's very hard to optimize something you haven't started yet. So, along the way, we will probably, learn a lot of the downside, so we can improve the entire experience for both companies, but also for you guys in the community. So yeah, so that's it from the fellowship thing. So I will now open for Q&A. If you have any questions, because the next part, I just want to share 5 tips with you, or more of a rant, as I said. It's only for those young grads thing. For those who are seasoned professionals, you probably don't need to hear me blah 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 on this. So yeah, are there any questions on the chat or on the Q&A? And I hope I haven't lost you for the last 10-20 minutes, right? I'm not just talking. Okay, am I actually online? Can you hear me? Can someone type yes on the chat? Yeah, okay. Well, at least we have at least one person who can hear, so I assume I can. All the rest is hearing. Does anyone has any questions? Please ask a question. Okay, maybe I can go back here. Now, on this company presentation side, I would like my company, obviously, because it's we are the ones, building this community and these things. So, I won't say we have priority. I would like to organize the first thing with you guys sometimes next month. It's most likely going to be, let's see, because I have so much my schedule and these things. Maybe the 21st or the 28th of January, I would like to organize something with you on my side, and then hopefully I will then get other companies also to to try to come up with the schedule to present. So on their side, it might be a bit thing because the companies need to send the right person to come and talk to you. Not at least they need to go to the team to find out the mathematical side, what mathematics you guys the baseline, the stuff that you need to know. So I expect that to be maybe not that fast as with us, because we already have the thing. It's with me, so I already know what the baseline that I would like on the projects. So. Yeah, so the 21st of January or the 28th. Oh, there is a question. Is it time? I mean, okay, so there's a question here. Is the time zone going to be a problem? I mean, if I have a different time zone than the company, I would like to participate with the lead. You mean in terms of the actual the presentation event, or in terms of the employment? If it's the presentation, we will record it for those who register to take part in the fellowship scheme from the community. We will record the stuff and then we will email it so you can see what the companies are doing. In terms of employment, I mean, nowadays, people are working with, multiple time zones, especially after COVID. So I don't see that to be a problem, in terms of, having a workforce. In fact, for us, actually, time zone can be a big asset, because it's like, in a way, you are almost working at 24/7 loop, right? You have productivity going on. When one time zones are done with work, the other people in the other time zone are starting. So it can be a good thing to have like teams working across multiple time zones. I hope I've answered that at least partially, but I'm happy to follow up with you again. And if you drop me an email and have any other question, or even here, just let me know. I mean, this is the thing that talent. This is one of the. I think COVID only made it. The pandemic only made it. Accelerated this. Made the companies that were reluctant to adopt remote work, and these things, to accelerate it. Now we do have the digital, the infrastructure to enable remote work and productivity. Obviously, especially in this type of area that we are interested in this emerging field. Very often it's very good to have like someone you can go on whiteboard and brainstorm with them. That's something you cannot do properly online. But yeah. Will the company application show? Yes, they will be shared on Discord. Yes. And there's another question: what kind of partnering company will participate? At the moment, we have software, mostly software companies. I mean, people working on companies doing algorithms and these things. And actually, mostly they are doing machine learning stuff. We have few on actual interest in quantum computing stuff. So it's some sort of a balance. Actually, we are lucky that two of the, well, not unlucky, maybe for the stakeholders, not two of the companies that were, we were very keen to have, they actually exited. So they recently sold out to other companies. So, yeah, I'll get back to them to see whether anything changed after the acquisition. But, these things happen, very often. Maybe the acquiring company doesn't want to, proceed with whatever arrangements that the acquisition target had made in the past. So this is one of the reasons I'm not actually sharing. I could have put in the logos of the companies coming in and these things. So I don't want to do that. So, and I don't also want people to come in just because of the logos. So instead, I will wait the thing once I schedule. Come to their meetings. Come to the thing once they schedule an event with us. It means they are very, very committed. Because one of the things that we don't want to do is to be like a PR type of stuff. Just for people to to have like this thing of a marketing blah 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 stuff. We don't want that. We really want genuine stuff. In fact, one of the things, this is off record, it turns out a lot of companies, especially in the quantum space, I'm sorry to say, unfortunately, this is from my thing of engaging with them in the context of this giving opportunity. It turns out they were advertising for roles that they have no intention of filling. It was just mostly to gather CVs and also for search engine optimization or whatnot. So yeah, so this is one of the reasons. If you are one of those that have been applying a lot to a lot of these companies, in particular some well-funded ones, the problem might not be you. It might be that it's just they are just advertising for the role and collecting your CV as opposed to you not being suitable or something or being bad. So don't feel discouraged about it if you don't hear from a company. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, especially those of you who are aspiring to work in the quantum computing industry, it's a new industry. There's so much to be done. At the same time, there's so much to be figured out and the career opportunities will be very competitive. Because there's so much to be figured out. So the people, the talent that you need to figure out new things are not necessarily the talents that you need when the industry is already established, things are already figured out, and you need to build on top of those things. So at the moment we need, it's a very very interesting, I won't say conundrum, but it's a very interesting thing to see. This thing of you hear a lot of people saying, oh, there is a shortage on skills in quantum computing and these things. Yeah, but it's what do you do? The industry is so new, and you will not be able to fill up, give opportunity to everyone that's, jumping into the bandwagon at the moment. You have all these free courses going on, which is good to introduce people to the industry, but then, to actually get to work, get paid to do something, or, aspire to do something, very important, you really, you really need to fight for it, because you are competing, especially those of you coming from maybe industry or not coming from academia or something, you are competing with a lot of people. And frankly, companies have a little bit of bias, especially a lot of these companies are created by academics and they tend to hire, unfortunately, the hiring process tend to be like, hire another PhD or hire another postdoc and these type of things, So yeah, we are trying to break that by, making mathematics to be your weapon in order to try to find a shortcut for you. So for those of you, who are part of the community and, have, interest in the mathematical side of things, I think this is probably I won't say your best chance, but one of the best chances for you to, get yourself a shortcut if you are not coming from, academic background. Is there another question? I think I've done answering this. Okay, so I'll jump down to is there any other question about the program itself before I jump to my rant about the practical tips? Come on, please. I'll give you 20 seconds. I mean, I guess, as I said, if you have any other thing, just drop me an email. Those of you who have expressed interest in this, on the thing, taking part of the scheme, you have my email. You can just drop me an email and I'll follow up with you. And we can even schedule one-to-one. I'm happy to do that. It's not is a thing. So, okay. So going to the practical tip, only 5. We are about to wrap up. So, please bear with me. The first practical tip. So I split it in what to do and what not to do, and this is just a summary, and this is also based on what I see a lot, especially over the past, 12 months when we've been providing, building this community, and, our company suddenly has been noticed by a lot of people. So we are getting a lot of inbound, inquiries about career opportunities and these things. So one of the things that I really recommend is to, in terms of CVs, I've seen this several times. It's very interesting that I did, last year I did the career stuff, career advice stuff also. And this is one of the things that I mentioned, and still, it's still something that, unfortunately still happens, is people sending CVs, listing, a bunch of tools, software tools and courses completed. I guess they just want to impress. Oh, I know how to deal with this. I know how to use this tool. I know how to, I've completed this course from this institution XYZ and these things. Yeah, don't do that. Don't just do that, because many other people have done, used the tools. They know how to use your tools, and they also completed other courses, not just the ones, or possibly the same courses as you, but also attach a cover letter, telling your story. By the way, apologies if you see any typo. That's also another thing that you should do, is to check spell checker, something like Grammarly or something. I'm terrible at that, so apologies in advance. You'll probably see typos as I speak. So yeah, so attach a cover letter also, tell your story and try to make a relevant connection to the company, for example, to the company's mission and these things, that way you are differentiating yourself from, the bunch of, robots who's just like, it could be like, a lot of these CVs, they are automated, you just sent for you to differentiate yourself, it's by sending a cover letter that makes connection to the company, tells me actually you have had the time, you have taken the time to look at the company and seen how you can contribute to the company and these type of things. Okay, so that's practical tip number 1. Practical tip number 2. This is also something I see a lot. People showing highlighting oh, the first thing that you see is that they completed the challenge of company XYZ. Normally, company XYZ is a big company, and highlight the score. Okay, that's great. You completed the challenge that someone else, a big company gave you, and these things. But don't do just that. Don't highlight that. For me, as one of the persons who hires for my company, responsible for talent acquisition, I would like you to highlight something technically relevant to to us, and most importantly, something that you have taken initiative to do, as opposed to someone else taking, telling you to do, as opposed to someone else giving you a challenge. Hey, here's a challenge, go and solve it. And, even if you manage to solve it using whatever, it's at the end of the day, someone else who told you to go and, solve it, The reason for this is because, one of the things that we really I think this is the nature of the industry, especially emerging industries, quantum computing, definitely, where things need to be figured out. New things need to be figured out, right? So it's very important to have, independent technical thinking, people with initiative, people with the boldness to go and try new things, especially with the contrarian, not following the herd, So this is something that you should highlight, or at least give a hint that you have this sort of personality. The thing. This is what, at least in my company, we are really excited about people like this, people who are independent thinkers, they are not conformist, they don't follow the herd, they like to say, okay, yeah, here's a tool and these things, okay, yeah, I can do better than that, or maybe we should do something different, these type of things, okay? Obviously, reinventing the wheel all the time is not necessary. We're not, it's in a way, it's not the thing, but what I want to say is really independent thinking, independent technical thinking in this case, because this is where you have the mindset to help unlock new opportunities, create new paradigms. This is what we want. Practical tip number 3. This is something I also see a lot. Very often, people, who approach us or approach me, in this case, they say they want to join the company because, they like what we are doing. They want to learn and these things, yeah, that's great. It's okay that you want to improve yourself and these things, but don't make it just about yourself. You should also mention, how can you help the company, right? Because the company is not a charity. We are certainly not a charity, If you want to join us, what can you do for us, to help us in our mission, for instance, So try to make a concrete case to why the company should hire you, and which means invest in you, because the company is expected to to give you opportunity, invest in you, not just with the hard with salary, but also with training and other stuff that companies normally offer. So it's very important that you give something, you give some sort of a hint about what else can you do to the company, as a return on investment that the company is doing on you. And this could be like a project base, you could look at the project, what the project, for example, that if you are aware the company is working on this, maybe they have, or you are aware even better that they have a problem, a technical problem, for instance, that they cannot solve or something, or they are having problem because you heard one of their technical guys give a talk on somewhere, or maybe a paper or something, if you can gauge that together and say, that already gives you a massive, I would say a massive point, in terms of interest. This one is the thing, is like, I see a lot, especially in social media, Twitter in this case is one of the biggest culprits for, hype, So don't pay attention to media hype driven by people with obvious conflict of interest, like, these consulting firms, this type of stuff, like, I'm not naming any specific firm because everyone does that, So don't buy into hype, and Another thing is, don't assume this is one of the things that this is specific to quantum computing. There is a lot of well-intended initiative online at the moment, with the education, the focus on the education and bringing people, to quantum computing industry, these type of things, to young. This is great, and these things, but don't mistake, don't make the mistake to think that you can make a non-trivial contribution with only, just with the programming knowledge, just with the Python, because the abstractions are not there yet. For you to be able to ignore, the underlying mathematics that going on in the gate level, for instance. So don't have this fake expectation that just because you completed a course, and you are a good Python programmer and these things, that a company, will just hire you and these things, these type of things. You need to understand the fundamentals, the underlying fundamentals of the mathematics, and I would even say of quantum mechanics, if you really want to be at the top, really, which is what you want to be, what you want to aspire to be, and this is what we want the community to aspire to be, at the top. So just bear it. The abstractions are not there yet, and even when the abstractions are finally built in, I don't know, in how many years' time, maybe 20 years' time or so, you will still, the best, for me, obviously I'm biased, the best quantum algorithm developers will have to have a good mathematical foundation knowledge, in order for them to, really make a groundbreaking progress that we all need, right? In terms of creating stuff that non-trivial stuff, practical stuff, useful stuff that brings us to actual computational advantage, the quantum advantage. So instead, what you should do is be very skeptical of anything you hear, including industry. Nowadays there are so many industry industry leaders, right? Especially in this nascent field. It used to be AI. You see people are changing now AI with quantum and these things. But be very skeptical with what you hear about. People flying around, especially coming from company PR departments, especially large companies or even well-funded companies. So don't believe in everything that you hear. Take it with as they say in the UK, with a pinch of salt. Okay, and you should also keep motivated. Keep motivated to learn and fill in the knowledge gap. Especially those of you in the thing interested in quantum computing stuff. And as a matter of fact, AI also. These are like emerging fields. So keep learning and these things. AI hasn't, all this thing you hear about, the progress that Google and all these guys are making with their, neural networks and these things. The field is still young. Artificial general intelligence hasn't been solved yet. This is the holy grail of AI. Without this, we will not have machines that can come very close to replacing specialist professions like say doctors or even scientists and these things. So there's a lot to be discovered. Don't buy into the hype that these companies, they already figured it out. No, they haven't. Of course they do have the state of art, the current state of art, but they are not the holy grail. So this is the difference. So yeah, keep learning. It might be you will come up with something, a novel thing that, maybe 20 or hundreds of, PhDs or something working at Google or something, couldn't figure it out, because, they are probably, the group thinking thing is kicking and they are not able to think outside the box. This is the thing. This is the thing I say to people. Don't assume that because these big companies, they have a huge amount of capital in terms of talent, and brain power and these things. It doesn't necessarily mean that the performance is there in terms of unlocking the next thing, the next big thing. Because very often there is a lot of dynamics going on in these companies. This is why I would recommend you, if you are to choose to work at Google or work for a smaller company, I would say work for a smaller company. you are less subjected to group thinking and being pulled in a thing in someone else's direction, and so lose your independence. We need independent thinkers. Independent thinkers are the ones that will create the next nemesis for the current dominant technology giants. So keep motivated to learn, and fill in the gaps that you need for your objectives. Having said that, don't make your career decision based on what others, including notable industry people, tell you, or even not industry people like myself. I'm telling you now. So don't take everything I say with a pinch of salt. In the end, you have to take make your own decision. Listen to people, but make your own decision in terms of what you want to do. Because it's in you. Okay. A final thing I want is that, because I've seen this a lot also, this also came out very interestingly in few times. People, obviously we are very interested in community building, and and we have seen people mention the fact that they have I don't know, n number of followers, and this industry person and these things is following them and has retweeted their tweet quote, this type of stuff. Don't assume because you are active on social media and have many followers, including notable industry people, say John Prescott, for instance, you will add any extra value to a company. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, to a company. In fact, you can assume that being connected to a company, you can actually be a PR liability to the company. This is why in social media, just myself and my co-founder and a few others who have been long enough in the company, that we associate our profiles with our company. Most others choose not to, and we prefer that way. So they are not, they can express their opinion, say what they think. It doesn't reflect on the thing. We are out of that, and also for security reason, because if especially when you are working in sensitive stuff, if your adversaries and these things, can pinpoint who's working with you and these things, they can use you. They can try to, social engineer one of them, to try to, get, some sort of, information phishing or whatnot. That could be. So social media can be good in a way, but it can also be have its downfall, downside of being on it, especially in this polarized era that we live in, with so many so many things happening in the world. So it's good to stay out of all this and just focus on building stuff. Focus on doing what really matters. That's my thing, my recommendation to you, especially those of you who are just getting started. You are in the academia, you are looking to make the switch to industry. Doing that to the industry doesn't mean you have to have a loud megaphone, shouting and getting involved in all sort of stuff. You can be on the radar and focus on doing yourself and still have the opportunity to do what you like. Okay, so that's my rant. I don't think I have anything else. I didn't have time. I would have included more tips. That's a good thing that I didn't have enough time, because I would probably annoy you more the more I give you tips. So yeah, so that's it. Does anyone have any questions? Not just about fellowship or any advice or anything I can give. Okay, so Amardip is asking, curious about what the general structure of the applications would be going. Yeah, actually, this is a good question. Let me go back again here. To be fair, this is in here on the thing on the application. This is, we want to make it like company specific. So there might be they might have some sort of, obviously we will give input on the companies, what we think, especially on the mathematical side, if they need us. But it will mostly, the form will mostly be like driven by, by the company. So it will be company specific as opposed to having just one thing. There might be some things where, stuff will overlap with each other. But yeah, it will be interesting though, through the experience, to then be able to create a standard form for the community, so that all the companies use the same thing. But I assume because of the diversity of the companies and the type of industries and the technologies that they are dealing with, the forms will be slightly different, because they are looking for slightly different technical skill set, but maybe also some soft skill sets that that they need. Yeah. And one thing I want to comment, our roles will specific this is, I think it's already implicit, right? This is technical stuff. So this is nothing to do with business and sales and these things, roles. This is pure technical roles. Okay. So I hope I'm pretty sure this was already obvious. So any other thing? I mean, you can, again, I will repeat myself. You can always drop me an email and I will have happy to have a one-to-one call with you. Okay. So if there isn't any question, I know it's we are now on the hour, and we might as well end here, and I'll go back. So the next time you will hear about me, it will be about the group theory crash course. Hopefully, I will make some about the program structure that I will share early next month. I actually already created a Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord server, I recommend that you joined it, because I create a channel already, a test channel for the group theory crash course, where we can start engaging on the conversation about what we will cover and this type of stuff. Okay. So, and I will follow up with those of you who already expressed interest on the career stuff about, the first company event, which is with me. And yeah, we take it from there. If there aren't any more questions, I'm happy to end here and save you for the rest of the day. And I wish you Happy New Year. Keep motivated, and and I see you in 2022. Any more questions? Okay, well, in that case, we end here. Thank you so much for joining, and yeah, I hope you have at least some idea about what we have in mind, and yeah, and feel free to drop me an email if you need to have a one-to-one. Thank you, and yeah, we see you next year. Happy New Year. Thank you, guys.